How's everybody doing? What's up? I know I'm a little late. Can't get myself together here. But that's one of those things that always happens when you really are not prepared to do anything. However, I am eating home cooked dinner, chicken, rice. I got a better thumbnail than that. I may even change that thumbnail. But this is just general talk. If anyone wants to come on and talk about fast food, talk about restaurants, talk about the political situation concerning food, homeless people concerning food, feeding people, SNAP, what's your thought on it? Fast food, restaurant, eating styles, whatever you want to talk about today, that's what we'll talk about. Or should I say tonight? One of the things that I really didn't want to have a definite program. This is first day in Pacific Coast. That clock is set back. It seems like you got more time. Maybe things feel like they're a little slower. Because I'm glad I didn't go to any restaurant this afternoon. Home cooked food, chicken. Sometimes I think I have to slow down when I eat fast food. When I say slow down, I'm talking about, am I eating too much fast food? Daily I eat fast food. I probably should eat breakfast at home, but I love to eat breakfast in the morning, a slight lunch, and perhaps eat some kind of dinner, but it still be in a restaurant. Like I said, I had many choices, but honestly, do I have enough money to do all that spending? I actually set aside money just so I could eat each day, even if it's the same old thing. It doesn't matter. I got all my choice restaurants. I picked up one or two along the way, and sometimes your body is just not there. Sometimes you get that feeling, if you know what I mean, maybe you should cut back. Maybe you should change the choice of food. And then sometimes when you read about these different articles about KFC reusing certain items like plastic containers, that can make you think a whole lot about what's going on. Modern muckraking is still around. That means that these restaurants and these processes of the restaurants can still be shut down for whatever reason, vermin, whatever else is happening when you read the articles each day about what's going on with these restaurants. It turns you off to a great deal. But you got to have faith. You got to trust somebody. You got to do this. You got to do that. Your money is what makes the world go round, no doubt about it. You're free to choose whatever you want to do. And you can choose not to ever go to a restaurant again because a lot of people are very good about that. A lot of people are very good about going to the grocery store. A lot of food that we buy, I don't even eat from the grocery store. There are only certain items that I'll eat. For instance, today I didn't go to the market, but I've still been eating out. I've still been eating food from The places that I love to eat, Panera Bread, Corner Bakery, still eating at those places. I changed up a little bit. I had decided not to talk about those foods again because I have to have a new spin on what I'm talking about each day. And that's the way life is. Sometimes you have to make subtle changes, small changes. Sometimes you have to do whatever you can. I need to travel more, but yet I'm living it. I got some travel coming up pretty soon. This is November. I got a birthday coming up, and I got some birthday gifts in restaurants coming up. As I brighten, or should I say, expand my horizons, like most everyone else, I find that there's more than just one type of food. I think every fast food has one particular item, or maybe four different items that you like for each one. Some of them you won't even give a chance to even go. You're not going to compete. You're just going to keep going to the same or one because that's the one you trust. And every now and then you break out one or two. And you're free to do that. You're free to go anywhere you want to if you can afford to go. A lot of people say they cannot afford to go to any restaurant, but they can afford to go and spend $200 to $400 a month at the grocery store. And some will do both. We spend $200 to $400 at the grocery store, but we'll still spend $200 at fast food. And that also depends on how big the family is and where you're going. We can also discuss how much the food is when you go to these amusement parks. Sometimes you have to count those in your budget because they are the extent of your budget that you go beyond. And then when you come back from your little trip, you want to know, how can I put that money back? You don't put it back, but you got to plan something. Maybe it's a restaurant that you eat outside of the amusement park, but they also had the same restaurant outside the amusement park. And so, therefore, you don't eat in the amusement park. You might get a drink that costs you $7, $8, which is the same as what most of the coffee houses charge if you get a large or a venti. All those things take into consideration. When you're on the road, you stop at your favorite places, and that's all of them. That's every hamburger establishment that you know about and some that you don't. You take that chance. You hope the service is good. How long does it take them to even come to your table? How long does it take for them to come to the cash register? And then how long does it take for them to make the food? We know that a lot of these restaurants have both drive through and non drive through. There are quite a few of them. Some don't have no drive through at all. You have to get out of your vehicle, you have to go in. Sometimes it's faster than actually going to the drive through. Now, sometimes the drive through is faster. But the thing that bugs me now, politically speaking, I'm not going to talk about whether it's bad or good, but people who need help need the food. I remember when my grandmother was alive, she used some of those services. She goes to the centers, she gets food, she applied. She didn't get that much for her retirement check, but she got enough. She still had a hospital plan long before they make a big deal about a hospital plan. And sometimes I go with her and I have to go to those places with her and we get the USGA food. A lot of those things I don't even eat, but nevertheless, they pass them out. You go to those centers, you pick up your food, and you add it to what you already have. Even during Thanksgiving, we go get a turkey from there, from one of those centers. But sometimes we end up buying another turkey anyway with our own little funds without a handout. So you do a little bit of both. You do a little bit of handout and a little bit of not taking advantage of the handout. Now, I can honestly say that my mother has never done any of those things, never begged for anything, no food stamps, no SNAP, none of those services, and still don't get paid that much in retirement. Of course, now I'm helping with the groceries now. I'm working my butt off to buy food, but nothing is handed down to us in the modern day. But yet, all these people who really need services, people who can't get a job, people who do have jobs, they're not making enough money. Rent is going up high. And so you can't buy the amount of food that most markets sell you. You just can't. We know that. If I don't have enough money myself, then I can't go to any fast food place. Like I said, you have to budget. And when you're talking about the food stamp program, even though I've never been on it, it was actual stamps, right? Now it's a credit card or something like that. Even if you're unemployed, some of us do not take advantage of the system. You have enough to barely get by, and hopefully you get a job. And most of the time, depending on the currency back in the day, you were still able to go out to a fancy restaurant, perhaps with your unemployment money. It's not very much, but the cost of living was a little bit different. The interest on your savings accounts was very different. I would say banks were more friendlier back then when you save your money. And when you take it out for a really good reason. But restaurants and markets have been going through changes for many decades. Some have changed names, some have merged, some merged and they took away the name, the same way with the drugstores. Because a lot of people shop for groceries even in drugstores. They probably don't even go in markets. They just go to the drugstore and they buy whatever food that they can. Mm. Life is very difficult than it was back then. Like I said, I was trying to figure out what type of food I was going to buy this season. But the food was already cooked. I'm glad I didn't buy anything. And sometimes when I do my vlogs of food, I say, okay, I've been doing it every day. Maybe I should slow it down and maybe I should do it every other day. Or maybe I'm still eating every day, but I won't do a vlog, just like I said. I won't present it unless it's brand new or if it's something that I never had, or I'm going to add it to any edition of what I talk about. It could be about anything. You hear raw, you hear a lot of rumors about stupid talking. You hear a lot of myths, some of it true. But we know why things are happening the way they are. It might seem that, of course, if you have a whole lot of money, a whole lot of income, I should say, and maybe a lot of things will not affect you. Or if you're right there in the middle class is gone, but you're still right there in the thick of things. You're still getting some sort of paycheck from someplace or some money someplace to maintain your lifestyle, your cost of living. Then you're doing okay. I think life can be difficult at times, but if you follow the path the way you should be, regardless of what your economic status is, you will be all right. Long as nothing else interferes with you. Long as nothing interferes with you, such as health or someone trying to take something that they don't deserve to have. Something you work hard for, and then make your life miserable because their life is miserable. And sometimes many of us bounce back pretty fast. It seems like a lot of restaurants, a few are bouncing back a little bit. You got your Red Lobsters bouncing back a little bit. Starbucks is bouncing back a little bit. We can't say anything about the drugstores, the pharmacies. They're just falling down all around us. And we see new restaurants emerging, new steakhouses, not necessarily not necessarily the top of the line, but they're there. And what I just got to read Of course, Outback is still around. Let me see. Get this. Outback is still around. Let me see if I can find my deal here. I don't want to go there. Don't want to go there. Here it is. This almost got a chronological thing about this. I talked about some of these things in the past. Because we know Outback Steakhouse, they sell steaks, of course, by the name. You got the Texas Roadhouse. I think I've been to the Texas Roadhouse one, and it seemed to be more family oriented. It's not really a quiet looking place. I've only been there once. Longhorn Steakhouse. So sometimes I'm getting kind of confused. I don't know. Sometimes they sound exactly like Texas Steakhouse, Longhorn Steakhouse. Are they the same? I haven't really checked that out. But Outback did have some problems. I guess they're doing okay still. Haven't looked them up. And this article, I am getting it from the street. Of course, there are a lot of other articles that talk about the same thing. The discount steakhouses that peaked out around 1980, as I'm reading verbatim. I didn't go to a lot of those places. I only went to certain ones, and if I did, I didn't know where I was going because I was going with somebody else. Sometimes they like to mix the all you can eat places. I know a lot of those all you can eat places probably serve prime rib as well as steaks. And we even know about soup plantation, of course. Mostly vegetables and soups, cookies, breads, all those good things that we like. And they even talk about the discount, the definition of discount steakhouse. Now, I never even heard about that. So what was that, from the 1950s to the 1990s? Old school locations. Was it offered cheap steak? I guess a lot of people, even me during the 70s, I didn't think of the restaurants as cheap steak, but I did look at them as cheap price. We know that when you have a plate of food, that it's amount of food that is on your plate, you get a little bit more. They might give you some bread. It got to a point where you get mad when they don't give you bread, and all restaurants do not give bread unless you ask for bread, or either it comes with bread. But you know, if you paid even in the 1990s, the late 80s. No, I've been saying 1990s, the late 1990s going into the 2000s. You can still find a couple of steakhouses or restaurants that were popular back then, and they had quite a bit of food on there. Now, today, if you buy a fish, such as the most popular salmon, or you buy a steak, it look like they're about the same size. They either cut them in squares or they're barely large enough, the size of an adult hand, unfortunately. You have a little rice on the side. You might have some vegetables on the side, but you still got a lot of space on your plate. And that's what you see today. You could be paying $35, $45 for a plank of steak, porterhouse or whatever. and it's one big piece of meat with just a little bit of vegetables like broccoli or carrots. They might throw some rice. And now, from the COVID times, the all-you-can-eat places are gone. Now, a lot of the all-you-can-eat places did not sell lobster. Now, that's another thing. Most of the time, your steakhouses sold steak, prime rib, and lobsters. Most places sold shrimp, so you can always get a shrimp. But how much shrimp do you want to eat? How much lobster do you want to eat? You have to take all those things into consideration because no matter what you buy, it's going to be very expensive. Now, there's one restaurant that I go to that is pretty well and is still around. I remember when they closed quite a few of them in the San Gabriel, but they do have them out in the, I think they have a few in LA, maybe one or two out in the Torrance area, but they definitely have them in the San Bernardino Riverside area. I remember the Velvet Turtle. Didn't go there much, but that was the place to go. Special holidays. But the steakhouse that still has some reputability, even though they lost quite a bit of them, is the Black Angus restaurant. Because they still have a deal. They still have the 2-for-1s. Not necessarily two, but yeah, I'm going to say the 2-for-1. You can get it for sometime a discount, really discount. I don't know what the price is now, but sometime you had a coupon, you could use the coupon. But even if you didn't use a coupon, it was right there on the table anyway. You can get 2 entrees, and you get a dessert. Of course, drinks are extra. And that was pretty good. You usually was full. You can get steak, any kind of steak, New York steak, porterhouse steak, plank steak, whatever steak, sirloin tip steak, salmon, and other type of fish. Even though salmon is not my favorite fish, I get tired of eating salmon all the time. But I do like fish more than I like anything else. The health properties are very good. Mm. What else they say here? The Ponderosa. Saying like the Ponderosa, Sizzler, and New York Steakhouse. Now, I know they got the Yard House. The Yard House Steakhouse is another one that you see around. A little bit expensive, but what is not? The Ponderosa, I think I only ate there probably once. That was way back in the 80s. I think they barely have any left. Of course, it was named after the movie, I guess. TV show. They had some sort of connection there. New York, and now I don't know about the New York Steakhouse, but Sizzler had food there. I would consider that a working man's establishment or working person, if you want to get politically correct, a working person establishment. They always had all you can eat salad, depending on what meal you buy, or you can just buy straight up just a regular old meal. You don't need the soup, you don't need the salad, you don't need all that lettuce and tomatoes. So Sizzlers is still around. I haven't been there in quite some time. Who else? It says Sizzler actually did file Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 1996 and 2000. And that's why I saw quite a few of them close up. So they are saying that those other steakhouses have taken their place. You do quite a few of them, but I still don't think they're really taking their place yet. I still don't think that Texas Roadhouse and Longhorn Steakhouse, I still don't think they have taken their place. You see quite a few of them when you drive along the road, you see them kind of scattered out around, but when you're talking about Sizzler, they were like almost every little city. You just go across the border from one city to the next in LA, San Gabriel Valley, Pasadena, Torrance, anywhere in the LA basin, there was a Sizzler. It was almost like going to Denny's. Or back in the day, Bob's Big Boy. Quite a few people went to Bob's Big Boy. Big Boy. A lot of people forgot about them. They're still around, but a lot of them closed in the inner city. I think by the time it got to the late 70s, into the 80s, I think quite a few of them have moved on, closed up, and then you see them farther out. You don't see Bob Big Boy much. Bob Big Boy was just as many as the other places, IHOPs, Denny's, so many other places. There were just many of those. You can always go there to eat breakfast. Now you have different places doing breakfast, and that's probably why those places are not around anymore. You can go get a good breakfast without being served at a table. Or you just put your number on the table and they serve you, or either you go pick it up yourself. A lot of them had good breakfast. I see a lot of people eat at all the restaurants, the fast food restaurants, the Paneras, the corner bakery. You can sit down and you can have you a good pancake meal. I was full the other day. One morning I ate there. I sat down and ate. Those few pancakes had filled me up with some sausages, chicken sausage in this place, or you can have, I guess, pork bacon or some other kind of food you want. Of course, a lot of these restaurants are trying to introduce drinks. I'm not talking about the liquor kind, but the more juice type drinks. I'm trying to look at what some other restaurants that I might have missed. Some restaurants I never even heard of. So Sizzler was actually founded in 1958 in California. And right now, and there's only 74 U.S. locations of Sizzler. They peaked at 270 locations. So after they filed bankruptcy in 2020, by 2025, they only had 74. So you only got 74 Sizzlers around. American Steakhouse. I never heard of that one either. And there's also different restaurants in every city. And and I see some of these restaurants, I've never even heard of them. Tad Steaks, San Francisco. I think they only had a few. They peaked at 28 locations. They had one steakhouse in Times Square in New York, and that closed in 2020. So they peaked at 28 U.S. locations. They were they were founded in 1955 in San Francisco. Low price steaks, it said, but yet it says, let me see, Times Square location closed 2020. Only one location remains, they say. So there you have it, folks. In general, people can afford to eat or not to eat, but yet a lot of them can eat all those foods that we talked about, steaks, prime rib. Those cost a lot of money. I guess you can get them in Snap. I never even heard of Snap before until just a couple of years ago. Didn't pay no mind to it, but I definitely know what food stamps was. Well, anyway, this is Robert and Sean. Just doing an extreme chat. Nothing in particular. Just covers many, many different points of why we can afford or not afford food and enjoy it and affordability of it, affording it in both domestically and travel. And knowing that the prices, it depends on supply and demand. The supply is there, the demand is there, but the taxes is keeping everything at bay. And that's the problem. I'll see you in my next video. We'll come to this way again, maybe discuss it in another spin kind of way. This is Robin Deschamps. I'll see you in my next video. Have a great day. Or shall I say, have a great evening. I hope you set your clock back this morning. I wasn't late. You should be either. Talk to you later.